Okay. Thank you, Ying, for joining us in Scouted by Gravy. I'm very happy to talk to you today about Blue Lake packaging. So, Ying, I came across Blue Lake when I was looking into latest solutions in sustainable packaging and how companies are focusing on circular economy in packaging for different industries. And that's when I came across Blue Lake. So, in a brief description or basically in layman terms, can you share what Blue Lake packaging is doing and what kind of innovation you guys are working on?
Okay, yeah, first of all, thank you very much for having me. We are a sustainable packaging company based in Silicon Valley, and our primary solution and mission is to really find alternative or develop alternatives to replace plastics in we call the protective packaging applications. For instance, like we've been working on and deliver a solution for protective film replacement. And also currently we're working on scaling our fiber foam solution. Fiber foam is basically an alternative to styrofoam, like what people are using today, like EPS, EPE, and even bubble wraps, to provide a cushioning protection for equipment, furniture, or electronics.
Okay, okay. So what I'm getting is that your major focus is on furniture, electronics, and all those products which requires cushioning or which usually are packed with a lot of plastic or styrofoam, but you want to change that and replace that with more sustainable options.
Yes, absolutely. So we utilize the fiber-based cellulose material, and we have our own proprietary solutions in both material composition as well as manufacturing techniques. So in addition to protective products, like what you just mentioned, the foams and protective solutions, we also do actually we call it packaging beyond the packaging. So we design products by utilizing packaging materials and packaging technologies. So we have, currently we're under two brands, Blue Lake Packaging as well as Blue Lake Eco Life.
Okay, okay. Can you tell me a little bit more about Blue Lake Ecolife that you shared?
Sure. Yeah, I think in order to demonstrate what packaging technology can do, particularly design products without the plastic, we designed, I believe that's the first in the world, tape and dispenser. So many people may remember those plastic, based tapes, and also there's like a circle shape of dispenser. And then a lot of these are just a single use. I got inspired from kind of just looking at how my kids use those tapes and dispenser every year, and a dozen of those got thrown away. And we came up with a solution by using cellulose film as the base material for the tape, which is made of materials without plastic. And also we use a molded fiber technology in the packaging industry to design the dispenser. So basically our solution, which is now readily available both on our website, Blue Lake Eco Life, as well as on Amazon, that for those who care about the environment and looking for solutions without plastic.
Okay, that sounds very exciting. And yes, I read about the plastic-free tape and dispenser. It was very well received in the market, and I've read a lot about it. So congratulations on that on the launch of a successful product. And I believe this what you've highlighted is very simple, but it's also very impactful because those small tapes and the plastic tape used on a lot of different packaging ultimately it makes it difficult to recycle them later in the process, and they require a separate process to remove those tapes. And again, those tapes also require a separate process to be recycled, then the packaging. Not just you, without replacing the solution, you made the whole thing more sustainable without and by removing the plastic from the picture. So it's really innovative. You mentioned you use cellulose based fibers, natural fibers, to make these packaging. So, and I read that Blue Lake come is basically making these fibers, cellulose based fiber, using agriculture waste. So can you share a little bit more details about how you are sourcing and basically what is the process looking like on your end?
Yeah, so we utilize, like a plant-based fiber, which has, ample access to this kind of plant-based fibers. I think traditionally people wear like, wood pulp that's coming from the the paper mills and the paper industry. At the same time, there are sugarcane, there are bamboo fibers, and also agriculture waste fibers like the straws and the agriculture waste that people probably now really looking at how to reuse a lot of basically making values out of this agriculture waste. So for us, we care more about the fiber, not necessarily where the fiber comes from. So we're basically utilizing, as I said, pretty much all we call it from nature to nature, meaning that we look for natural material, and then the goal is our products at the end of life at a disposal, it can either recyclable with paper, which is the most widely recycled material, or home or basically backyard compostable, meaning that people can compose it just in their backyard, where basically even if this material get into soil or get into ocean, it will naturally biodegradable.
Okay, okay, that is super interesting that it's home compostable as well. It doesn't require very complex processes to be composted.
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
because I think
Uh,
that we all know for a lot of this sort of waste management, I've been to a number of, they call them MRF, material recovery facilities. We understand like it was so hard to sort it out, all this single material and then be able to sort of send them to the recycling actually facility. So we basically felt like, even if people won't be able to recycle this material at the recycling facility. And even if it ended up in nature, it will have no
mm.
harm to the environment.
Yes, yes, and I think that's the way to go because recycling itself is a challenge and it also is very resource intensive. So even if you recycle, it takes up energy. The transportation also adds the CO2 to the whole life cycle. So it's a brilliant idea. So Ying, I wanted to ask, since you are recycling agricultural waste and you must be sourcing it from a lot of different places, do you see any feedstock issues coming up in the future as you scale and as you produce more packaging?
I think it comes to like probably two I would say aspect of the questions. One is
Hmm.
the source of the material, and then second is the sourcing of the material.
Yeah.
So what we see is I think the source of material, as I mentioned, is readily available in any market. It's not like some of the minerals or some of the material that can only be mined or found in certain locations, geographic locations. Forestry and agriculture, that's, a lot of this kind of byproducts are available in North America, in Asia, in Europe. So there are a lot of different places that, people can find this source. And then secondly, become a matter of the sourcing of the material. And also we see, there have been facilities in almost every continent. We've been working with different partners in different continents to really test their material and really see, what's the differences. Because even people say, hey, it's all fiber, but the reality is there are different like wood species. There are different sort of the strength of the fiber, the length of the fiber. There are just so many things that could, make a difference in the material composition. So when it comes to sourcing, we look at, different type of fiber and really look at the strength and the sort of the physical characteristics of this material, and see how we can build those into our existing solution, as well as utilizing our actually manufacturing techniques.
Okay, okay. So, I mean, what I'm able to understand is the process of selecting the right material, then selecting the right way to process it is also it's also takes up a lot of effort and thoughts on your end.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. It's just people think that's probably all simple when it comes to wood, but even wood pulp, if you ask the paper mill and the paper industry, actually they have so many wider range of different like soft and hard, they're long fiber, soft fiber, like a short fiber, and also a combination of anywhere in between. And when it comes to, bagasse and sugar cane or agriculture waste, there are always the different kinds of things that we're trying to utilize. Yeah. But yeah, so basically that's
mm,
in the past a couple of years, so we we're swimming in all kinds of selections and making sure that we understand, each type of the fiber that we can possibly utilize, and also how we can utilize. Because the goal for Blue Lake is we're not just trying to be kind of specific in one type of fiber, but we're trying to develop a generic solution that we can utilize different fiber for different product. Because even for our fiber foam, it has different compression performances. So we are achieving this by utilizing different fiber, having different bio-based additives in the formula, and also fine-tuning and adjusting different manufacturing parameters in order to achieve the final performance for the cushioning material.
Okay, okay. And thanks for sharing such detailed overview of things. And you mentioned, you gave one example, and this is making me curious about how does different type of material end up in different type of products that Blue Lake is making. For example, you gave an example of an alternative material to the cushioning that is used in packaging, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
how does different type of cellulose fiber is being used in different type of packaging products? Can you give me a few more examples, please?
Yeah, I think it depends on what kind of the final products that we're looking at. Because even if today you look at EPS, EPE, you look at bubble wrap, they'll have different compression performances. And what I mean by compression performances, very simply as a consumer, if you press it and then, will bounce back. And then the how much it will be able to bounce back and how much you can press on is all very different. So it depends on, for instance, you mentioned like furniture, sometimes it will need a better compression performance, but the motherboard, something lighter or maybe a glass vase may require, less compression performance for the same sort of volume of the product, the material. So based on the different sort of product requirements, we adjust the material formula. And then if you look at like a softer fiber, softer wood fiber versus hardwood fiber, and then the strength will be very different. So basically, as you can imagine, the longer the fiber can be, we also actually the performance would be better. But on the other side, probably will be a little bit more costly in sort of securing the material, or even a longer processing processing cycle time for that as well. So those are things like we normally look at, just finding the economic sort of the balance between what kind of material we use, and also what kind of cycle time we use. And at the end of the day, it become a matter of what really we're trying to. I think there are actually three key metrics that we're using for our product solutions. One is the performance, second is the cost, and the third is basically sustainability, like the recyclability and biodegradability, as we just talked about.
Okay, okay, understood. And I think this gives me a very clear idea of how different materials affect the different requirements. So, Ying, like making this possible, what kind of technological challenges did Blue Lake had to solve? Maybe in terms of manufacturing, or maybe you had to solve a sourcing issue, maybe transportation issue, or I've also heard, because I've done a little bit research on a few startups which are using agricultural waste to make products, and a lot of them run into the location issues as well, the geographical location from where you guys are sourcing, where your facility is. So can you take me through maybe one or two examples of challenges, either technical, logistical, or geographical, that your team has solved?
Yeah, I think for us, basically, first of all, I have to say, for the cushioning material, like the bio-based recyclable cushioning material that we're working on, there are probably not that many sort of ready available solutions. So there's nothing like, there are tons of people have been doing this and we just need to make some improvement. It's almost like, starting from scratch. We're aware there are some other companies using different type of biomaterials, starch-based or even crab shells, or, seaweeds or mushrooms. There are different companies are using different type of materials to do something But at the same time, if we're talking about fiber, I think it's down to a handful or maybe only a very limited number of companies have been working on this solution. So for that reason, I think the initial challenge will be, where we start. We have some idea. We did a lot of, we call the DOEs, a design of experiment, to make sure that we prove the concept is possible. And so once we do, we finish the proof of concept, the next challenge will be scaling. The scaling, the reason why that we need to scale and we wanted to scale is really for the cost. You can't really just provide the materials and samples in a lab environment. We really need to have a mass production friendly solution to make sure that that our solution will be cost competitive to the existing petroleum based materials. So that's kind of the next challenge. And then the third challenge, as you mentioned, I think right now we're looking at the geographic locations, because we're talking about like a cushioning material. It's a foam. It's a kind of volume wise, it could be a large product in terms and become very costly to ship, around the globe if we only have a very central manufacturing site. So we need to look at how we can design the manufacturing processes that will be agile and nimble. Because for those people who are familiar with paper mills, one paper mill could be hundreds of millions of dollars investment and it could be gigantic. But we probably don't want to have this kind of solutions for packaging. So we're really looking at how we design, the equipment that's just about right that will be able to support the capacity and also the cost target that we need. But at the same time, we can have this kind of equipment anywhere in the world. It's limited to North America or Asia. Those equipment almost like a printing machine. It just will be sort of flexible enough to move around to different locations. So I see like for something relatively new, or almost completely new to the packaging industry, we were facing different levels of challenges. But what I'm happy about right now is I think we really making great progress over the past 3 years to get to where we are today, and we're very close to a mass production solution that where we're building our demo line to make sure that we demonstrate that we can accomplish, as I said, the performance target, the cost target, and also our recyclability target.
Okay, this sounds like a very innovative journey, and you're right. Actually, it's very difficult to make and test products when you're the only one doing it, and you are someone who's coming up with a solution from scratch. And of course, good luck with your upcoming mass production milestone that you shared. Okay, so
Thank you.
I have
Mhm.
now again I'm curious about the comparison and competitiveness of your product. For you yourself also mentioned that there are a lot of startups which are trying to use seaweed to make packaging, and then there's also a few more startups working on using the agricultural waste itself to produce packaging. There are not a lot of them, but there are a few. So how does uh, basically cellulose fiber compares to, let's say, seaweed, growing and just directly using seaweed as a packaging solution? So do you often receive these kind of comparison questions, and basically what do you say about it?
Yeah, I think I definitely welcome all solutions because I feel like the plastic proliferation as well as the microplastic pollution is a real challenge to the world. So there's no, I would say, I welcome any solutions that will help to reduce the consumption of plastics. At the same time, I think at the beginning of Blue Lake, we did very extensive research in what kind of material we want to use and what kind of design target that we have for our manufacturing processes. So we wanted to, as I mentioned earlier, we want to make sure that we'll utilize a material that will be readily available globally. It's not just limited to one location or one country. And secondly, we want to make sure that material is cost competitive, because we're talking
Mm.
about comparing our cost to the petroleum-based material. And we all know, we call it plastic, but actually the general polymer family, the whole polymer product family, that's a byproduct of crude oil. So as long as, humans are pumping up, crude oil from the ocean or from the land, the polymer material, will be available. So we have
Yeah.
to really be competitive in terms of the cost, because we know, like, even we can corner a few cases, like say, hey, we can use the bio-based material, but then the less applications were sales of plastic, that means that their cost will be even lower, their price will be even lower, because regardless, they will be available. So we really look at the raw material cost as well.
Mm.
And then thirdly, we look at the performance and then the wide range of applications, basically the variety of applications that we can utilize, where we can develop in the real world scenarios. So we're looking at, how we can develop some kind of material and make it versatile to support the different solutions. As I mentioned, it's not just like a single application that in a very kind of unique situation, but we are not only making this to become a material for packaging, but also could be a material for products as well, for toys, for household
Mm.
products. So we're demonstrating that kind of capabilities by utilizing the technology that we develop.
Okay, and it's good that you mention that it's not just the packaging you're going after. This solution of natural fiber can be used in wide way, and you've already proven it by making that first of its kind no plastic tape. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so apart from this, and like I think what I understood was you currently, from industrial perspective, your focus is on tackling electronic and furniture based packaging first.
Yeah,
Am I
I
right
think
on those lines?
electronics equipment, we've been working with, and also automobile industry, like when they have like heavy big parts, and any devices like testing devices company. So yeah, it's kind of like whenever people need some cushioning material, like where they are currently using EPS foam or EPE, that we're sort of basically providing them alternatives.
Okay, so do you see application of Blue Lake's products in food and beverage industry? So is it are you able to make food compatible? And of course, I think that's the very obvious choice of sustainable
Yeah.
packaging products. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Believe it or not, there are a lot of like food packaging, food beverage companies came to us. So I know that has been a very hot topic. So I think, let me put this way, I think we're now trying to do or at least for my company right now, we're now trying to do they call it flex packaging, like the replace,
Mm.
like the potato chips bag, or like the snap bags and things like that. I know there are a lot of companies are doing that right now.
Mm.
And also for food and beverage company, I have to say, from a startup point of view, I think a lot of this food and beverage companies or industry in general very sensitive to cost, but are also very keen on the scalability. So for a startup, it's probably not the best match for in terms of the talents we have, the resources we have, and also the capacity we have. So that's the reason why at the very beginning, when I established the company, we focus on where we think we can add more value, and also I think it will be a good match of our background, our skill sets, experiences, as well as the technology we're trying to deliver. Having said that, I think we are looking at some of the coating material and also coated solutions for maybe some specific food applications, but not for the general food and beverage like the snacks and the drinks.
Like bio-based films for paper-based cups, which are meant to hold liquids and all. So, right?
Yeah, I think for that, to be honest with you, there are all kinds of solutions already for the cups, for
Mhm.
the paper plates, for the straws and things like that. It's really down to cost and adoption. It become a matter of really who has better sales channels than who has better solutions. But for us, I think
Mm.
we focus on the unique technologies that we have or we have capabilities of developing. So that's the reason why I said we are very research and development oriented company. At the same time, we focus on the scalability of our solutions, but we're not trying to compete with solutions that's already readily available and just become a matter of who can sell more.
Yes, I think going from a solution that no one was working on and starting things from scratch, you've come a long way that now you're seeing a lot of competition in different industries as well. So I think that's a very good thing specifically for a startup that's trying to innovate on such a big problem. So again, good luck with that.
Thank you.
So, Ying, now my question is more about the regulation and basically the part about sustainability that a lot of big companies are now shifting towards, either because of government push or either because of their consumer push. So, what kind of what's the role of regulations playing in helping you get your brand out there, or basically helping you position your products in front of these big companies?
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. I think in sustainability, I have to say the policy and the regulations play a huge role in people's behavior, regardless it's a corporate kind of adoption or the consumer behavior. Because I feel like now there are a lot of people, more and more consumers are looking for environmentally friendly solutions for packaging and even for products. So I got so many emails from our users. Actually, think highly of our tape and dispenser because that's something like they have access to, and we actually have a wide range of plastic-free products that are offered in office supply and school supply space. At the same time, actually, we're getting into the pet market. We are going to soon announce another very cool product in the actually two products in the pet market, because we're really looking at where most plastics are consumed in those
Mhm.
areas. But so that's from the consumer point of view. Like they really, if I'm telling them about the sustainable packaging, they don't really understand that much. But if I'm telling them what kind of applications that we can do, so they instantly understand and accept the fact that this is something absolutely necessary for the environment.
Mhm.
On the other side, I feel like for corporations, because corporations, for most of the corporations are very, I have to say, profit driven. They are looking at the top line and bottom line. They're looking at, by adopting sustainable packaging, how much, more sales it will generate versus if there's any cost incremental that may impact their bottom line. So from that regard, I felt like the big influencer that would be the government policies. Now there are more and more products and technologies that can deliver better solutions for the environment. Then it become a matter of whether or not I think government and the consumer rights advocacy agency, like whether or not that they will push for it. Then just to have more and more corporations to shifting their focus not only on the profit side but also looking at the branding and also making investment in switching to better solutions for the environment. So back to I think your point is very very valid because I do see over the past few years, I think there has been a trend of tightening of the policy. Where I live in California, I see definitely California has been a pioneer in some of the policies, but also West Coast in general in the U.S. As well as European countries. I think there just have been a lot of policies that that have been around and also have been carried out to set some targets for corporations.
Yeah, and I think Europe usually stays ahead in these kind of regulations and policies that works more in favor of the environment and consumers. And basically,
Mhm.
Europe in generally is very active in pushing these regulations. So maybe that is also I've seen that is a really emerging market for sustainable packaging or sustainability solutions in general. Okay, so Ying, now I'll also like to ask, apart from the regulation and the government push that you mentioned, of course, companies are more keen on adopting, sustainable solution if it matches their profitability as well, as you already mentioned. So how does that look like in case of Blue Lake packaging? So basically, how easy it is for a company to adopt your solution into their supply chain, and what I'm also trying to understand is, what does the that process will look like? Can a company directly source raw materials from you and make their own packaging, or can will they get ready-made solution based on their requirements? Or basically, how
Mhm.
does this collaboration work? How easy it is for a company to work with you?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think there are several levels. First of all, we've been working with companies to probably on a consulting basis because there are companies looking, open their box and then let us, see how many pieces are there and how we can give them some sort of input about what pieces can be replaced with more environmentally friendly solutions. Even that Blue Lake may or may not be providing that, but we provide that service to give an evaluation. And then also we provide total solutions in terms of from design to deliver the product. So we, based on the customer requirement, we will provide certain type of solutions to make sure that you will meet their performance target, the cost target, and also the recycling target. So that's kind of on the total solution side. I think in the near future that our goal is we'll be able to even provide the total manufacturing solution in terms of we develop the equipment, we develop technology. We can partner with other companies like in the packaging industry that who will be willing to host our equipment and then to provide the solutions to their customers. So that will be able to have this ripple effect because regardless of how fast like Blue Lake can grow, the packaging is everywhere. If you look at the whole world, I think the packaging is in every continent, every country, even city, every product needs some sort of packaging. So but for the particularly like a cushioning material, protective material that we have, we want to make sure that, for the speed of the uh, development, we want to make sure that, for those packaging companies who want to have access, to this kind of product, it doesn't have to be always come from Blue Lake. We can work with them to set up their manufacturing facility by utilizing our technology and equipment. Yeah.
This
So
is a great thought, that you are
yeah.
also helping enabling companies to use your sustainable solution, regardless of whether they work with Blue Lake or not.
Mhm.
So this is really good. Uh, Thanks for sharing
Yeah,
it.
exactly. I think that's really like how fast we can help to, hopefully, I think my goal is now trying to completely eliminate, plastic packaging. I know there's no way of doing that, but the other side is a matter of how we can curb or slow down the growth of, the plastic output in the packaging or consumption in the packaging. If you look at the chart, I think a lot of people predict like the plastic output will be doubled by 2040 and things like that. But
Yeah.
hopefully, there will be a wake up call to many companies, the brands and enterprises, and really look at alternatives to slow down that growth.
Okay, I'm totally with you on on the vision and mission of reducing and eliminating plastic. I hope more and more people get to hear this, and get on the train to kick plastic out of our system. So Ying, with that, I'm nearing to the end of, and I just wanted to ask you one more thing, which is something that I ask for my own personal
Mhm.
knowledge, and is that you mentioned that you had to work on a solution which no one else was working on, and it was basically starting from scratch. You had to do test out a lot of products, lot of raw materials that will work with your vision and basically help you eliminate it. And so during all this time, and of course you are coming from a very different background, you worked in Apple, and then you also had your own software company. During all this wasn't the first time in entrepreneurship for you, but still it was a very new industry. and a very new problem. So did you, during this journey, did you ever feel like that maybe this is not going to work, maybe this is like very difficult to execute, or any such, like how did you deal with those thoughts?
Thank you for that question. I don't, not that many people. I got quite a number of interviews, but not that many people asking me that question. So thank you for being very thoughtful and try to get this at a personal level. So for me, I truly think, I think at my stage of life, just as you mentioned, I had a good career at Apple. I've been an entrepreneur, which kind of, just inspired me by, looking at a lot of successful stories in other industries. And I learned so many different skills that I probably couldn't if I were still with a big corporation, and I met with a lot of very fascinating and capable people throughout my entire career, regardless at Apple or after. I feel like my motivation right now is I'm looking at where I can add the most value. I think giving my background at Apple in supply chain management and product development, also my knowledge about the manufacturing and the technologies, and also I felt like it's become a matter of what's needed for the world. I think I can probably be an investor in some companies or doing some other things, maybe golfing or traveling every day. But the other side, I felt like my personal value to the world is to hopefully be able to deliver something that people will use for years to come. I think that's one thing. And also, this is absolutely needed. If you look at the paper industry, looking at the packaging industry, a lot of technologies have been around for many, many years. And then it become so challenging to really bring in any of the new perspectives. So hopefully, I think that's my goal is I'll be able to bridge an industry from sort of production driven to technology driven, and also help to bring the concept of sort of from nature to big corporations, and then really focus on the environment, not just the profit, I guess. And I have two young kids. I have two daughters, 13 and 10. I always feel like their generation deserves a better solution for the future environment. So that's kind of making me motivated every day. Honestly, I woke up at 5 a.m. this morning, working on a few things, and I'm so happy to get this interview. And hopefully, for those people who have the shared passion for the environment can watch this and understand, it is possible, like even an individual like myself, that can make a difference.
This is really motivating for me as well, and I'm sure for our readers as well, this is going to be really eye opener. And I really relate with what you said, that this needs to be done for the future, for the coming generations. So this is something that basically this definitely needs to be done. It has been this way for a very long time. The industry needs a change. That's really motivating thought for me. And with that, Ying, I think I've already taken more time than I asked for from you. But thanks for giving me this time and sharing about Blue Lake. I really learned a lot, and I look forward to talking about this on our website, on our social media channels as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think you have a lot of very thoughtful questions, and thank you for being so prepared, for this talk. Thank you.